So we know that the decision variables are how many to produce each month. Let me just move those ones down a little bit. Okay, and there is a relationship that we defined here. So in that spreadsheet, I want to define that I want the spreadsheet to represent the same thing. So we'll have the beginning inventory plus the decision variables, which are the unit to produce, minus the demand. Okay, so we'll have 3 rows. So here I'll have make it align this way. Okay, and then we'll have unit produced. Actually, I'm just going to I just deleted that entire column and just move this. Okay. So we have beginning inventory, unit produced. Remember, we have beginning equals to be the beginning inventory plus unit produced minus what? Unit demand, right? Okay, which is given here. Okay, so let's just move this. Move this entire row here. Okay. That equals to be the ending inventory. Okay. And those units produced are my decision variables. I'm going to highlight those first. Okay, so you got this, and oh, here, I need a border here too. Then first thing would be to put that beginning inventory, which is 2,750. That's given. Okay, then put the formula here because I want to define those relationships first. Okay, different from the other ones, we do like in other models, we do the decision variables and then we go to the objective function. In this case, we need some other values to calculate the objective function. So I'll define those relationships first. So here, ending inventory equals to be beginning inventory, right? Plus unit produced minus unit demanded. Yeah, let me enlarge this part. Okay. And for this one, you can copy it all the way here. Just click. Say, okay, it's the beginning inventory plus unit produced minus demand. Okay. And then there is another relationship we need to establish, which is the ending inventory of the first month equals to be the beginning inventory of the second month. Right? Yeah. Okay, so here we need to put 2. This equals to be this here. So that the relationship is defined. Okay, and that's the same for all of them. Just copy it all the way. Click inside. See, okay, so this beginning inventory of month 6 equals to be the ending inventory of month 5. So this cell here always equals to be the ending inventory of the previous month. You do it here, then copy it all the way. So with that, we took care of the relationship between the inventory, beginning inventory, unit produced, the demand, and the inventory. And the inventory of 1 month versus the beginning inventory of the next month. Okay, so these tables are done. Okay, now we know that our objective function needs us to calculate first the production cost and second the inventory cost. Okay, and I'll put a place to calculate the. See, so that's the unit production cost. So I'm going to move this. Move this down a little bit. Okay, unit production cost, because the inventory cost is 1.5%. I'll put the unit inventory cost here. Insert. So I'll put that 1.5%. Make those equals to be this one times this one. And I want to fix this. I want to fix this cell here, so I put the dollar sign. Click F4 and it will fix it. Then click all the way. Copy it all the way to here. With that, I got my unit production cost. Okay. Then I know in my objective function, I need to get the sum product of the production cost versus this unit produced. But I also need a row that represents the average inventory, so I can take the sum product. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I would like to put that average inventory somewhere here, but yeah, let's just do it. We'll do it here first and then move, if there is a better place for it to go. Insert. Okay, so here I'll put average inventory. And this equals to be beginning inventory plus is the beginning inventory and the ending inventory. Okay, so let's copy this one. Click here. So yeah, it's the beginning inventory and the ending inventory. That helps calculate the average inventory. I'm going to insert a row here because the reason is because these four are closely related. We calculate them using this relationship, like this plus this minus this equals to this. And average inventory, I just put a row to differentiate. Okay, then we got those unit cost, inventory cost. Now I just put that production cost and inventory cost. Equal to be. Either way, you can calculate the monthly production cost, monthly inventory cost, and add them together in one cell, or you just do the sum product function. So depends on what you want to do. You can put different way. Okay, so I'll do the sum product. Here the unit produced and unit cost will give me the production cost. Or sometimes the company would may want to know the monthly production cost and the monthly inventory cost. So instead of doing this the sum product, what you can do is also just do unit produced multiply unit cost and copy it all the way. Then here I will change this to be monthly production cost. So this way we present more information to the company. Okay, monthly inventory cost, and here will be the same. We're going to use average inventory multiply. Oops. Oh, did I? Okay, here equals to be average inventory multiply unit and inventory cost. Here, just point this times inventory. Okay. Those numbers are too long to show, but it's okay. That's because we don't have any value here. And I'm going to put a total cost here. This total cost will be just the one cell. That equals to be sum of all the values here. Okay. Finally, we got our objective function. I'm going to highlight it. That's the objective. Now we'll take care of those constraints. First constraint, production level. So we have the capacity and half of the capacity. So let's just put it. So here, we got that here. So maximum production, that's one of the constraints, and we'll calculate the minimum production being half. So here you can either put a 0.5 here. This is probably one time. I would just embed the formula here, but equals to be 0.5 multiply those value. Okay, but equals to be this times this 0.5 here, and this 0.5 need to be fixed. So this helps us to calculate. All of them are the half of the maximum production. And these will be used as the right-hand side of my constraint. I'll just highlight them. The left-hand side are all of our decision variables. So that's two constraints. And then the next thing is the inventory. We had a group of constraints. Inventory minimum will be 1,500 and the maximum will be 6,000. That's the same for all 6 months. So to put them in the same format, I'll just put here maximum inventory and the minimum inventory. So the maximum inventory is 6,000. This is a given. Minimum is 1500. Just copy it across. Okay, and these will be my right hand side too. Okay, with that, we took care of all the constraints. Those really obvious constraints are just those two groups. The monthly production cannot exceed the capacity and should be more than half of the maximum capacity, and the inventory need to be between 1,500 and 6,000. And the other constraint that we defined are the relationship between the inventory, production, and the demand. Okay, so that's the model. And just to make it look better, because all of these parts are calculating the product, like the unit cost, monthly cost, I'm going to just move them here. So I'm going to shift this table here. The reason is that I just want my total cost cell at the bottom here. So I don't like it to be in the middle of somewhere in the model. Okay, so it's down here. So you look at the entire thing. So that's the production and inventory relationship table. And here are those constraints that you have to satisfy. Here are some unit costs, and eventually gives you the total cost. So it will read nicely this way. Okay, then let's go to define solver. So go to solver. Okay, objective. This one, minimize it. Change. Minimize total cost. Okay, by changing those variables here. Okay, and the constraint you have will be, so the decision variables need to be less than or equal to the maximum production. Add. Decision variables need to be greater than or equal to minimum production. So that's the production part. The left-hand side are the unit produced, the decision variables. Right-hand side will be these two rows. First row will be less than or equal to, second row will be greater than or equal to. Okay. Then would be the inventory part. And you find that they are talking about the ending inventory, right? At the end of each month. So we need to highlight this part. So it should be less than or equal to the 6,000. And the ending inventory need to be greater than or equal to this 1500 line here. So if you look at, they're just these two groups. And these two groups are the bound. So you probably have noticed that even though when we define the constraint, we just click constraint, add. Solver actually categorize those constraints for us. Okay, and here we don't need to check this unconstrained variable, non-negative, because they are already bounded here. Let me ask you, by just observing it, what are the bound constraints? What are those bounds? Bounds of what? Those are bounds of the, what's the C8 through H8? In terms of the model? The decision variables, right? Okay, so those bound constraints represent the lower or upper limit on your decision variables. Okay, so if you ever set upper limit or lower limit on your decision variables, they were shown here as the bound. Okay, and the other will be like a normal constraint. Okay, then here, change it to the LP algorithm and solve. Skip guidance. Okay, so we find the solution. All constraint optimality conditions are satisfied. Okay, that means we find it. I'm just going to add put all of them here. Okay, then you can do the cosmetic work yourself. For example, here I use the 2 column. I'll just add a border like this. Here, no border and then outside border, so they are all together. And same for these ones, and all of those ones can be bold and aligned. Total cost, that's the objective function. So I'm going to just add a sig border to it. And these ones, add a border for those ones. Same with those ones. No border and then just the outside border. Total cost. Okay. Then you can add a box here, text box here, just to put like the title of this spreadsheet. Then you have a nice and a clean spreadsheet that reads pretty well. So you read it, it's a beginning inventory, produced unit, demand, and inventory. Then we calculate, oh, I forgot this part. We calculated the average inventory. And we have those restrictions on it. Then we calculate the unit cost, then the total cost. Monthly production cost, monthly inventory cost, and the total cost.